It's safe to say that going into Avengers Endgame, our heroes can use all the help they can get. While Thanos promised the decimation would leave more resources for those who survived, that might not actually turn out to be the case. We know, we're shocked we couldn't trust Thanos too. We'll explain why our heroes might be in even more dire straits than we thought, and might have to go on without the aid of magic or the resources of Wakanda. We wonder if Nakia really just hates to say, "I told you so," because we'd be shouting that from the rooftops by the end of Black Panther. From the very start of the movie, Nakia told T'Challa he should reveal Wakanda to the world in order to offer aid to people living outside of their borders. But staying secretive and isolated was one of the core tenets of Wakanda, and T'Challa just couldn't bring himself to break it. Heck, the reason Eric Killmonger was such a great villain was because he wasn't totally wrong. He was right that Wakanda was letting people down by guarding their own resources so closely, and that they could do better by their people. The way he went about things was what made him qualify for villain status, but we have to admit he made some pretty good points. We saw T'Challa struggle with the idea of going up against everything his father had taught him. A big part of the movie was T'Challa realizing that, even though T'Chaka was the mighty Black Panther, he was also a fallible human being. He did some less than noble things, including leaving little Eric Killmonger behind after he took out his father. Seriously, that's just cold-blooded. While audiences saw T'Challa struggle to accept his ex-girlfriend was right about something, which is just as easy and fun as you think it is, he likely wasn't the only one going through this. Everyone in Wakanda was brought up to believe secrecy was the only way, and their ancient traditions were an important part of their daily lives. When T'Challa finally went public with Wakanda at the end of the movie and established an outreach center, we're sure there was no shortage of Wakandan citizens who believed it was a terrible idea. Change is hard, especially when you know your stores of vibranium make you an excellent target. And to those people of Wakanda who remain, it might seem like they were right about keeping to themselves, because T'Challa went public. One of the biggest fights of Avengers Infinity War played out right on their doorstep. They didn't even get a Starbucks either. Thanos and his Black Order descended on Wakanda, and in the aftermath, half of all their people perished. We're guessing the remaining survivors aren't exactly seeing this as a Wakanda half-full situation. As outsiders, we know Wakanda going public and the decimation are ultimately unrelated, but we doubt the survivors see it that way. They probably see this as the ultimate proof that T'Challa was wrong and now their king is gone. And not only is T'Challa gone, but the Avengers Endgame trailer makes it look as though Shuri's gone too. So who's left in charge of Wakanda? Well, during Black Panther, we saw that when a king passes away, people are invited to a test of physical combat in order to claim the throne. In light of the decimation, it seems likely this could happen again. When T'Challa took the throne originally, only M'Baku from the Jabari tribe challenged him. Although he lost over the course of the movie, he proved himself a friend and ally to Wakanda, and likely impressed many people. It doesn't seem too crazy to suggest M'Baku might end up ruling Wakanda in T'Challa's absence. And remember, the Jabari tribe were isolationists, who didn't even want to associate with Wakanda, let alone the rest of the world. In light of the decimation, do you think Wakanda will be eager to render aid to outsiders? According to Redditor The Incredible Shaq, probably not. We know T'Challa's friend and Dora Milaje leader Okoye survived, but we also know her loyalty is to the throne. Although this was put to the test during Black Panther, she only sided with T'Challa because of their close friendship, and even then it was a struggle. In his absence and with Shuri gone, it seems logical that Okoye's loyalties will transfer to whoever sits on the throne next. To the average citizen of Wakanda, it probably looked as though they reached out to help outsiders and were promptly rewarded by the Mad Titan rampaging through their land and causing the decimation. We can't see them being in a hurry to offer aid to the remaining heroes who couldn't stop Thanos the first time. Not to mention that they pretty much brought Thanos down on their heads by bringing Vision to Wakanda. They were hoping Shuri could remove the Mind Stone without harming Vision, but failed in their task pretty spectacularly. If you count how many times Vision died, then they kind of failed twice. Pretty much everything T'Chaka and the others before him warned them about happening did happen when they opened their borders. Saying Wakanda has resources is a huge understatement. Let's not forget their stockpiles of vibranium and advanced technology that makes Stark Industries look quaint. And then there are all the highly trained soldiers, including the Dora Milaje and the War Dogs. But following the event of Infinity War, it seems unlikely M'Baku, or whoever ends up ruling Wakanda, will want to allocate any of these resources to outsiders. Not to mention that the remaining heroes are likely not to be the only ones who could use some help right now. During the Endgame Super Bowl trailer, we saw the world looking positively decimated and bleak. Things are certainly looking grim, and many countries may be looking to Wakanda for help during this time. Wakanda's priority right now might be to protect their own, and it's hard to blame them in light of everything that's happened. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the distinction between science and magic can be confusing. While Wakanda has access to high-tech weaponry, medicine, and resources, there's another huge source of power. Doctor Strange was a major player during Infinity War, and many believe he chose his actions deliberately in order to set our heroes up for success during Endgame. Come on, he even said the name of the movie. It's clear he was up to something the whole time. He may be a bit abrasive, but Doctor Strange is an immensely powerful sorcerer with tons of resources at his disposal. But let's not forget what happened to his fellow practitioners of the mystic arts in the past. Prior to Infinity War, the magical Marvel community had suffered some pretty heavy losses. The Ancient One perished, but not before the revelation that she had been augmenting her powers via the Dark Dimension, which caused Mordo to become disillusioned with her. This caused him to declare that using magic was wrong and against the natural order of things. Not content to simply hang up his own sling ring, he decided to hunt down and take out his fellow sorcerers. Clearly, this was setting him up to be the villain, or one of them, during the second Doctor Strange movie, but it may come into play during Endgame. Like the people of Wakanda, users of the mystic arts have been through some trying times lately as well. When Caecilius and his zealots were wreaking havoc, they managed to destroy the London Sanctum Sanctorum. Previously, the Ancient One had explained to Doctor Strange that these sanctums were key to maintaining balance in the universe. Needless to say, losing one was a huge blow, and we aren't sure if it's been restored since the events of the movie, so when it comes to resources, the magical community is spread pretty thin at the moment. Of course, there's Kamar Taj, the training ground of practitioners of the mystic arts. But those who remain have been through quite a lot lately. We doubt it's escaped everyone's notice that their master, the Ancient One, is gone, and replaced with that jerk who couldn't stay out of the restricted section at the library. No, not Harry Potter. We're talking about Doctor Strange. The Ancient One's not only gone, but it's likely her good name has been dragged through the mud as a result of her dabbling in the Dark Dimension. Mordo was also a high-ranking sorcerer before he went rogue and started hunting people down. It's so hard to find good help these days, you know? The only reason any remaining magic users have survived this long is really due to Doctor Strange and his use of the Time Stone. But after the events of Infinity War, both the Time Stone and Doctor Strange are long gone. For us muggles, getting to use magic seems pretty awesome, and Doctor Strange also makes it look easy. But just take a look at the terrifying Dormammu and you'll realize there are some very real risks. The remaining magic users have a lot to fear at the moment. Mordo's out there hunting those he finds anyway. And if magic users were inclined to help out superheroes, why haven't they ever done so before? We're sure they're well aware of major events which took place in the MCU, yet we haven't seen them prior to Doctor Strange. Surely they could have traveled through the New York Sanctum and helped turn the tide during the Battle of New York. We're not blaming them for continuing to practice in the shadows. We're just pointing out that they have a history of remaining isolated. Why'd they change this now when things are more dangerous for them than ever before? Of course, there's Wong, who will likely be in charge in light of Doctor Strange's absence. Since Tony Stark's currently floating around in outer space, we suppose he'll have some free time before he attends his wedding to Pepper Potts. Wong fought against the Black Order during Infinity War, and it's clear he's a formidable threat who can be very useful in battle. But that's if he's willing to participate. It's hard to blame him for not wanting Strange to fool around in the restricted section of the library, especially when he's just trying to chill out and jam to some Beyonce. But he's made it clear that he doesn't approve of messing around with the space-time continuum. And just how are our heroes going to defeat Thanos? Well, most fans believe they're going to have to travel through time, possibly utilizing the quantum realm, and collect the Infinity Stones before Thanos does. Now, does this seem like a plan Wong would remotely approve of? Or can you already see his disapproving face in your mind? Not to mention Wong probably has plenty of things to worry about at the moment. When the Hong Kong Sanctum fell during Doctor Strange, it was enough to allow Dormammu to start munching on Earth. Needless to say, maintaining the Sanctums is a top priority. Thanos isn't the only threat out there. Wong even cautioned Strange that the void created by the Ancient One's death would be enticing to various evil entities across the multiverse. He was worried about Earth having no Sorcerer Supreme to defend it, and that's true once more. Yeah, Thanos is a serious threat, but he's not the only one out there. Dormammu did promise to leave Earth alone, but we have a distinct feeling he's not exactly the most trustworthy interdimensional evil being. Plus, he pretty much agreed because he was terrified at the thought of spending forever with Doctor Strange, and it's hard to blame him for that. But Doctor Strange is gone thanks to Thanos, and there are surely many other evil entities who'd love to conquer Earth. Wong probably has enough on his plate trying to protect the remaining Sanctum Sanctorums that we can't see him abandoning them for any reason, even if it's to undo the decimation. Wong may be powerful, but would he be willing to abandon something he feels is his duty in order to mess with time, which he's made clear he doesn't approve of? It seems unlikely, and him doing so could put the world in an even worse situation than the one it's currently in. Not only are our heroes few in numbers, but they're likely few in resources at this point. Just like in the old days, it seems like they're gonna have to save the day while using only their powers and the resources of Stark Industries. Not that the considerable firepower of Stark Industries is anything to sneeze at, mind you. Of course, things will probably be a lot easier if Tony's there, so we're really keeping our fingers crossed that he makes it back to Earth sooner rather than later. Bruce Banner is pretty much the only genius they have left on the team, and he got shown up by Shuri during Infinity War. It's okay, Bruce, you tried your best, bud. And it's safe to say Tony's probably hoping for that too. After all, there's no one to laugh at your jokes in the vacuum of space. Do you think the remaining heroes can count on the resources of Wakanda during Avengers Endgame? Will they be able to use the mystic arts to set things right? Share your predictions with us in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to CBR for more MCU videos. Thanks for watching.